Hey guys, it's Rich with your Monday Spot on the Pagan Perspective, and this week is a Choose Your Own Adventure week. This week's video is going to be pretty short. I got a lot of things going on tonight, but I am choosing my adventures from the subtopics between, I believe it was October of last year and current subs weeks. So let me find the one that I picked. This one is from November's subs week of 2019. And this comes from Minty Dandy Danny, who writes, "What lets you know that you have chosen the right path?" Okay, so it's hard to describe. It's kind of ineffable, like unable to really put it into words without kind of sounding cheesy or cliche. So the way that I know that I'm practicing the right practice for me, and that my spiritual beliefs are in tune with with what works for me, is just a feeling of kind of belonging. I've mentioned in the past that my matron is Sophia, and whenever I found her, which, she's unlike other goddesses in my experience. Other goddesses, from what I've been explained from people who work with Hecate or with the Morgan, is they kind of make themselves known, and they're like, hey, we're going to be working together. And Sophia was very much not like that for me. In my experience, Sophia was kind of standing in, excuse the air conditioner sounds behind me. Hopefully this doesn't drown it out too much. But in my experience, working with Sophia, or the way that I met Sophia in my practice, was more of she was on the edge of the circle, waiting for me to come to the realization that she was there. And that for me was really, it was kind of like the epiphany moment of actually noticing that she was there, noticing that she was willing to work with me and be part of my practice. And if you go onto my personal channel, you can actually see the video that I made at the time. But working with Sophia is not like how other goddesses who I've been explained how they work. Like, Sophia doesn't really ask for offerings. She doesn't ask for continual things, like a sacrifice of time necessarily and whatnot. It's more about, your continual knowledge and continual learning. So in my experience, that's how Sophia is with me, and it kind of started bringing me towards Gnosticism, which I'm more in tune with than just saying Christopaganism, because Christopaganism, you get a lot of flack from both sides saying, that's not a thing, how could you do that? How can you justify that square peg round hole thing? Which I would still consider myself a Christopagan, or a Christian witch, but Gnosticism goes a little bit further because it is an offshoot of Christianity. And in looking at it that way, if I never found Sophia, I wouldn't have this study starting in Gnosticism. And, that would be okay, but it's a natural progression of my practice, a natural evolution of my practice. So it kind of builds on the building blocks of what I've already had established as my practice. So how do I know that I'm on the right path, or I'm doing what's right for me? Is basically like an inner calm, knowing that what you're doing is what you're supposed to do. It's kind of like, you're not afraid of what you're doing. You're not apprehensive really about what you're doing. You question it, and you ask yourself why you're doing what you're doing, but in the end, after you have all the answers to it, in the end, you still are like, yes, this is true for me. This is my truth, and this is what is supposed to be. And it's that feeling that it really kind of gives you a sense of ease, a sense of calm, that you know that this is right, this is true for you. And for me, that's what I would say would be how I know that I'm on the right path. Now, I do have a differentiation between the word path and practice, and I'm using practice in this phrasing because I think it was Annie that posted it, and I'm not sure if it was, but I'm pretty sure it was Annie that posted the difference between a path and a practice. Path, you're always on the right path. It's no matter where you are, or no matter where you go, there you are, type of thing. You are on a path, and as long as if you're on a path, that is the right path. Now, whenever it comes to practice, that's something that you continually practice at. That's why, doctors aren't masters of the craft. They are practicing their craft of being a doctor of medicine and whatnot. So I take the same look at spiritual aspects and faith and spirituality in general. It is something that you practice at. Now, I believe this question was asked meaning practice in my definition, rather than path of how do you know that you're on this one path, because the answer is you're always on that path. And however other people use their definitions and their terminology is up to them. Not saying one is right or wrong over the other, just saying that that's why I reword things, such as this one. So, in my path, my practice, the way that I know, in the short answer, that I am correct for me is an inner feeling of peace, contentment. I'm an anxious person, so not having that anxiety about it, knowing that, what I'm doing is right for what I'm supposed to be doing, that everything is in tune. So that's my answer to the November Subs Week question. Again, this is a choose your own topic week for the regular hosts. So kind of want to see what all the other hosts pick. So it should be a fun week for us. And I will see you guys next week. Until then, may you have love, hugs, and ladybugs. Bye-bye.